Imagine two 100-verse passages. Both have exactly 20 verses marked with the same theme. Traditional analysis says they're identical, but one has markers scattered randomly. Verses 3, 7, 15, 23, 38, while the other has them concentrated in 3 blocks, verses 1 through 5, 45 through 54, and 95 through 99. Your eyes can see the difference instantly. One is noise, the other is architecture. Until now, no protocol could quantify that difference. Shield 10.1 changes everything. For years, I've been developing the SHIELD protocol system for analyzing biblical text patterns. Version 7.0 calculated ratios. Version 8.0 added statistical significance with z-scores. Version 9.0 brought Bayesian evidence weighing. But there was always a blind spot. All 3 protocols treated every verse as independent, like separate coin flips. They asked how many, but never where. Think about it this way. If I told you a room had 50% red balls and 50% blue balls, you'd picture them mixed together. But what if all the red balls were on one side and all the blue on the other? Same percentages. Completely different reality. Protocol 10.1 introduces 4 new metrics. Let me walk you through each one. First, the CSI, Clustering Strength Index. A run is a consecutive sequence of same-type verses. If markers cluster together, you get fewer runs. If they alternate, you get more. Random distribution produces a predictable number of runs. CSI measures how far your passage deviates. A CSI above 1.96 means statistically significant clustering. Above 3.0, strong clustering. Above 5.0, extreme. You're looking at intentional architecture. Second, the RLM, Run Length Metric. This asks, how long is your longest consecutive sequence compared to what random chance would produce? An RLM above 2.0 means you have sustained thematic blocks. Above 3.0, those blocks are passage-defining. The New Jerusalem description in Revelation 21 achieves an RLM of 3.57, dominant structural sections that define the entire passage. Third, and this one's powerful, the CMC, Co-occurrence Matrix Coefficient. This reveals which markers travel together. When identity and priesthood appear in the same verses more often than chance predicts, CMC captures that relationship. In our Segulah analysis, identity and priesthood showed a CMC of 0.320. They travel together 46% more often than expected. For the special treasure, who you are is inseparable from your priestly function. Finally, the SSI, Structural Signature Index. This is the composite fingerprint that integrates all the spatial metrics into one score. Below 0.30 means diffuse, no coherent organization. Above 0.50 means architectural, clear intentional design. Above 0.70, highly structured. The New Jerusalem passage scores 0.83, sophisticated literary construction. But 10.1 goes further. It includes automated detection for literary structures that mark intentional composition. Chiasmus, the ABCBA mirror pattern found throughout Scripture. Inclusio, where opening and closing sections bracket the content. And climactic structure, where marker density builds toward a peak. When you find these patterns, you're not looking at random text. You're looking at authored design. And 10.1 quantifies it. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Many of you saw my Segulah video, 60 views so far. Here's what Protocol 10.1 revealed that we couldn't see before. Governance markers achieved plus 2.0 sigma, statistically significant. The Segulah are defined by their place in kingdom structure. But here's what Protocol 10.0 caught that frequency counting missed. Both positive and negative emotional markers were significantly suppressed. SAM positive at negative 2.83 sigma. SAM negative at negative 2.99 sigma. The statistical signature is clear: elevated governance, priesthood, and generational success. Suppressed emotions, both positive and negative. And suppressed covenant breach. What does this mean theologically? The special treasure is characterized by status, not sentiment. You don't feel like a Segulah. You are one. Position, not emotion. And here's the Protocol 10.1 exclusive discovery. The CMC analysis revealed that identity and priesthood markers fuse together. They appear in the same verses 46% more often than random chance predicts. For the Segulah, identity is priestly function. They're not separate categories. You don't have a priesthood. You are the priesthood. Now let me put this in the context of the Lifeforce Experiment, my ongoing research into whether prayer-guided quantum random selection produces non-random biblical patterns. At 2,000 verses, the experiment achieved a z-score of 3.61 sigma. The p-value was less than 0.01, meaning less than 1% probability this occurred by chance. The combined probability across all tests, 1 in 371 billion. But here's what validates the entire methodology. We ran a control experiment. 2 sets of verses selected by algorithmic randomness alone, no prayer guidance. The result? P-value of 0.6238. No significant difference. When the experimental variable, prayer guidance, is absent, the effect disappears. The control confirms the cause. This isn't random chance. It's not methodology artifacts. It's not selection bias or statistical flukes. Prayer guidance operating through quantum randomness produces measurable, reproducible effects on verse selection quality. Protocol 10.1 adds another layer of validation. Spatial analysis confirms the patterns aren't just frequent, they're architecturally structured. Here's what makes 10.1 powerful: the cross-protocol validation matrix. When a finding achieves significance across multiple independent mathematical frameworks, it moves from interesting to validated. Governance dominance is validated. significant in both 7.0 NRI and 8.0 Sigma scores. Emotional suppression is validated, significant across multiple markers, and identity priesthood fusion is confirmed, visible only through 10.1's spatial analysis. SHIELD Protocol 10.1 represents a paradigm shift. We're no longer just counting. We're detecting architecture. We're finding fingerprints of authorial design that frequency analysis alone cannot see. When markers cluster instead of scatter, 10.1 sees it. When themes travel together, 10.1 measures it. When literary patterns emerge, 10.1 quantifies them. The full SHIELD Protocol 10.1 specification is available through Hearts Two Fathers Publishing. The Lifeforce Experiment continues, and I'll keep bringing you the findings. If this blessed you, subscribe and share. And remember, God doesn't just speak through words, He speaks through patterns. Protocol 10.1 helps us see them. Shalom.